About 5 years ago, I was able to secure a contract with Woolworths to produce and deliver quality beef for the local market. It made it a lot more obvious that we needed to improve the pastures and improve production. GeoCatch happened along at exactly the right time for me and offered me the opportunity to do some specific soil testing and plant analysis, and I was actually quite surprised to see how much residual fertiliser was in the property from previous practices where we just threw out super every year like we've been doing forever.
The soil testing program's part of a larger program called the Fertiliser Best Practice Project, and it's been running in the Geographe catchment for 3 years. We've been working with about 80 farms. This program in particular is working more intensively with 10 farms. The aim of the project is to reduce nutrients coming off farming land to protect water quality in our local waterways.
With GeoCatch's help and Graham Mussell's expertise, we decided to really get stuck into it. We didn't put super fertiliser out for probably 2 years at least, and the money that was saved there I was able to put into spraying out some of the weeds, seeding and improving the pastures.
I met Ross at one of the very first workshops he and I attended. Ross was doing what he'd done year after year in a blanket application of superphosphate, which is not unusual in the district. The whole farm was soil tested and the colour-coded maps produced for the various nutrients. Then we did tissue testing in the spring to confirm that the changes to the fertiliser program were on track. And then following up from that, as a case study farm, we did strategic soil testing in the summer and redefined a fertiliser plan for the coming season.
We have some really important wetlands that are also internationally recognised as waterbird habitat, and as well as that we have Geographe Bay. Feeding into our waterways, we've got a really vibrant agricultural industry, so it's really critical that we're all working together.
Probably a few reasons why we got involved in the soil testing program. We found a lot of our pastures were getting dominated by probably capeweed, and then in some instances our grasses were dominated by probably brome, silver grasses, barley grasses. We did have quite a lot of clover through our paddocks, but we were finding that they weren't nodulating probably like they should be. That probably prompted us to think, well, yeah, what's the fertility of our soils like? Why are we sort of struggling to get our pasture composition? Our pHs are very low. That's probably why the rhizobia for the legumes and the clovers are struggling to survive. Big one last year, we didn't use any fertiliser at all for our autumn program. So we totally eliminated that and put those funds that we would normally spend on fertiliser towards lime. So yeah, big changes.
We've always been quite conscious of our costs with our soil and trying to get the best out of it, because we do feed a lot of cattle.
So we're running 1,600 hectares here in Busselton with a fertiliser bill of $350,000 roughly a year. The soil testing program's given us confidence to shift our fertiliser to where it's more needed, which is further away paddocks where we're cutting for hay and silage. Taking part in the soil test program has allowed us to target mainly pea into low fertility paddocks, and mainly where we're cutting silage. And we've taken pea right away from our dairy area. The money saving is quite significant.
What we're doing now is we're really targeting specific paddocks, so the paddock actually gets what the paddock needs. It's very expensive to put the wrong fertiliser in the wrong place. We live in the community and we need to respect this area as well, but we also have to run a business here, so we just have to have best practice and try and do it the best we can.
This is our third time of a full farm soil test. We can see where we've made decision changes and how that's affected things, and having a lot of data that we can individually pick out problem paddocks and see the reasons why they're not performing.
I've been here since 1954. With my father, started when I was 15. And since then, Brodie's come on board and we're doing a bit of farming together.
Our fertiliser practices were quite intensive on this farm. We definitely like to keep the fertiliser levels up to grow the grass because we are running quite a high stocking rate. We met Graham through the GeoCatch soil program and basically he's our full-time agronomist now. I like to deal with him because he's independent. So the first year after the soil test results we put on quite a lot of lime across the farm, bring the pH up half a scale or a scale. Rather than just going for a single super blanket across the farm, we do a lot of different rates per paddocks.
It's important we see the breeding of the stock, the improvement of the breeding of the stock. We need to see improvement of the pasture. We also need to improve the environment by doing a better quality job, because we can always do a better job no matter what we do.
GeoCatch has changed my way of doing things on the farm, and I think the most beneficial has been the access to Graham, the agronomist, being able to throw ideas past. I've got ideas, he's got ideas. Between the two of us, we're always on the same page. The GeoCatch results were whole farm comprehensive, and I really knew exactly where we had a starting point. We're now using nitrogen a lot more regularly and a lot more strategically. So just specifically when the plant wants it, we put it out and instantly you get a response. Weight gains traditionally on this property range from about 100 to 115 kilos per year. It's now sitting at somewhere between 135 to 150. And every decision now is based on science and results.
I think the farmers, when they're willing to take part in the programs, it demonstrates how committed you are to being more sustainable, more profitable and productive.